Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started, but we'll continue to let people in. Welcome to this Wednesday Wisdom with Jeremy Walker from Helmets to Boots, the art of effective business networking.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Jeremy Walker, retired Army veteran and founder and CEO of Helmets to Boots Foundation and LLC, where we help veterans get all the information that they need to know, veterans and their family members. My nickname, AKA Mr. Nobody, because I always say something that people say, nobody ever told me that. So today I want to share you some of my networking strategies that nobody probably ever told you as well. So what we're going to start off with is, as I share my screen, we're going to look at the art of effective business networking. This is Helmets to Boots again. I'm Jeremy Walker, and we are going to start off with this amazing overview of why I started doing this. I'm known in the veteran space as a big shark in a little pond, aka the Meg, because of my ability to navigate events and build strong connections that lead to amazing business opportunities. What's the point of being in business if you don't know how to grow your business? My friend Jason talks about this all the time. We look at growth versus scale, but when you scale your business, it's creating systems and different things that help you, manage and succeed for a long period of time. But in order to get to the point of scaling, you have to grow. And if you've ever heard your network is your net worth, it is true. So this is why we're here today. And one of the things that I want to share with you in this session is to let you know your net how to take your networking game to a whole new level. As we discover how my military leadership principles and business acumen can add valuable insight to your life for ultimate success. Now, my strategic approach is to building relationships is grounded in years of training, education, and sought out opportunities and hands-on experience. So most of you who are here know that everywhere I go, I'm always talking to people. Well, the cool part about it is, for those of you that don't know, everywhere I go, I'm always talking to people. My goal is always to talk to every single body in the room, every single person in the room, regardless of who they are, because again, information is power. And the more that you meet people, the more information that you can share, as well as the more information you can receive. Now, this is me. After 22 and a half years, I retired in 2016. My commander would tell anybody right now that this guy right here is the best network I've ever met my whole life. And to me, I was just doing my job. Like, I'm talking to different people across the country. We ran all 50 states as instructors with only 7 people. So that required me to get out and talk to any and everybody, use different assets and capabilities to figure out who my audience was going to be. And to be honest with you, you would never think in high school I used to be really quiet. But we can go ahead and laugh about that down for almost everybody on the online who knows me, because I'm probably one of the loudest people. And I'm that extrovert. I'm always over the place. Well, again, I had to learn a lot of different things to become who I am today. And that's where my success lies. And I want to share that with you. Can everybody hear me? Please come off of mute and let me know that you can hear. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So to give you a little bit of information about myself, here I am. Again, I'm a retired Army Sergeant First Class. I did 22 and a half years in the military, in the Army. I started at 16 in the National Guard, did 2 years, and then I went active duty. I'm a Bronze Star recipient, also a multi-combat vet. And I have a bachelor's in business administration, master's in organizational leadership. We're going to jump down to some of my current accomplishments, which is I'm a member of the Atlanta Black Chamber Veteran Entrepreneur Group. I'm the Cobb County Business Boot Camp member, the Atlanta Airport Chamber, which thank you for having me today, guys. I am super excited if you can't hear that. And also a member of the Veterans Coalition Foundation. And a couple of minutes prior to this call, I just found out that I will be hosting my own radio show starting this Saturday called Veterans Today 2.0 on WCEG Radio. So, woohoo! The shark is on the move. All right. I changed my name to Mr. Nobody again because I'm the type of person I'm always seeking knowledge and I'm always loving to share. So today I want to make sure that, again, you guys hear it first from Mr. Nobody about a bunch of information that's going to help you with your networking game that nobody ever tells you. All right. Well, Here's the overall topic for today. Effective business networking. We all know that our network is our network, and you hear that over and over again. But I'm going to show you some of the key tips that I've learned over the last 30 years of being a military professional, as well as being in the business field. A lot of the information on the slides we're going to glass over. If you want to come back later on, Natasha's probably going to send it out to you. And I designed this so you can go back and read it and help develop your own skills. All right. Why does networking matter? Well, some of the key points that we look at is career advancement, knowledge exchange, relationship building, and community. For everybody here, that should resonate well because you own a business or you're thinking about owning a business, or you're trying to figure out, just like Jason talks about a lot, how do I scale? Well, you meet people, you're hiring people, you're assessing everybody, including yourself, because a lot of times we're only as good as our strength and weaknesses. SWOT analysis. If you turn around and you think about what you're good at and what somebody else is not good at, it can put you in a place where you can do well, or maybe you need to send somebody in your place that has a better skill set than that. One thing that we look at is to start with a clear purpose. Define your objectives. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to talk about? Identify target connections. Okay, if I'm going into a meeting, a small business meeting, I want to be able to talk to everybody in the room. I may have to take a 3x5 card with specific notes geared just towards that meeting. Or just like we do at the airport chamber, we're going to have a mixer where there's over 150 people that I've never met. So what is it that will make me attracted to them? And just having a conversation and saying who they are. Because remember, conversation is not mostly about who you are to that person. It's more about what you can find out about them. All right. And then you want to prepare relevant questions. That is always a key essential to what I do, because why am I talking to a person? That is my ultimate thing. Everybody I meet has a why. Why am I talking to you? What is it about you that I need to know, or I would like to learn, or maybe you can surprise me with? Now, we begin with your existing network. A lot of people are nervous. Most of us cannot stand talking to people if you're an introvert. So start with your friends and your family members. It's easy to go be like, hey, man, I met my classmates. I'm an alum. I'm in a fraternity or sorority. Look at your former colleagues. I was in the military for 22 and a half years. A lot of people I associate with right now serve with me either in my last duty station or they serve with me from years ago, and we just remain friends. And then you also look at your professors and mentors, many of which are on this Zoom today. But again, I have professors from college that told me they wanted to mentor to me to help me replace them in the future. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a college professor, but it sure sounds good. Now, most of us think about this key phrase, crafting your elevator pitch. How can I tell somebody who I am, what I'm about, introduce myself? If I walk into a stranger and I'm in an elevator, I got from basically from the first floor to possibly the third floor to say, who are you? Who am I? This is what I believe in. This is what I want to share my focus, and then possibly create a connection to get a further meeting longer than the 30 or 60 seconds that's normally that you use to deliver that pitch. All right. Sometimes it's more viable in the elevator pitch to create a connection that might get them to take you out the elevator with them and say, hey, come walk with me. Let's talk. Can you have time to come to my office? That's really what you want to try to do in selling yourself. Now, you want to ask great questions. A lot of us sometimes like, hey, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Maybe the right question is about being a better listener. Hey, who are you? How are you doing today? What do you do? Move beyond the yes and no responses to encourage detailed answers. Maintain eye contact and truly focus on their responses. Again, being a good listener. Build on what they've shared and deepen your conversation. We met a young man yesterday while we were sitting at Chick-fil-A, and he was a Marine vet. And he was like, hey, what do you do? I said, hey, I'm an Army vet. I retired after doing 22 and a half years. I help veterans get their disabilities, which is a part of finding your new purpose. He was like, cool, can I get your phone number? Just in that quick second between, go figure, some waffle fries and chicken nuggets. I was able to make a connection, and we wound up talking for about 2 hours last night. It sometimes again, it's a skill that needs to be acquired, but that was just me listening to him saying he was a Marine vet that just got out and he needed some help. You don't have to feel the pressure a lot of times of you don't have to feel pressure to impress people either. Just be yourself. Most people love us because we're truly authentic, and that's who they really want to talk with. Ask open-ended questions, listen actively, follow up thoughtfully, show genuine curiosity. That's what I just illustrated to you with the young man that I met at Chick-fil-A yesterday. Now, building relationships is not just connections. Think long term. You want to be authentic. You want to give before you take. One of my models is I'll never ask for anything from anybody until I give you something first. So a lot of times it's all about the knowledge. Maybe opening the door. You'll be surprised that me being a gentleman right now, and I'm from South SOUF, Carolina, just opening the door for people, they'll say thank you. Oh man, you're so kind, and that starts a conversation. Well, hey, how are you doing today? How can I help you? What is it that you do? Oh, I'm Jeremy Walker. Nice to meet you. See, I made the conversation always about the other person, and with that, you want to be consistent. Once you create who you are, you're branding yourself by the way you act, by the way you talk. True connection isn't always about collecting as many business cards as possible. It's more about creating meaningful connections that'll take you so much farther than you'll ever imagine, because your connection may be connected to somebody else. They may not be the person at that time that you need to be connected with, but they might put you in a room with somebody else. So, the art of following up. Send a thank you message within 24 to 48 hours. I normally do it the same day. Why? Because it's fresh on my mind. I don't want to get caught up and forget about what I'm doing. But again, you have to practice doing these things. You want to reference specific conversation points. Just like I used the young man from yesterday. He was a Marine Corps veteran. Go figure. I'm an Army veteran. Hey man, it was nice meeting you at Chick-fil-A. Thank you for your service in the Corps. You know what? How can I help you right now? Provide relevant resources. You don't have to look at every article, events, and connections, but for me to be Mr. Nobody, to always be able to say to people, hey, here's something that you don't know or nobody ever tells me, I'm constantly learning. And with the current administration and all the things that's going on, there's so much stuff in the news that if you look at it from a different aspect, you can look at the pros and the cons. Good or bad leadership is always going to teach you something. And wherever there's a lack of information is a business. And then you want to schedule periodic check-ins. Now, navigating networking events, small scale. Before the event, do your research. That's all you have to do. If you know who's in the room, you can prepare 2 or 3 conversation starters, or you know who you need to somewhat target. And then easy for you to have somebody connect with that may be able to connect with you or somebody else in the room that you don't even know. Most of the, if you're depending on your location during an event, you want to look at approachable individuals, or a small group of people that you know. Now, because as soon as you go over and be like, hey, what's going on? Now, what happens is they'll say, hey, I want you to meet this person. That's a beautiful thing, because that takes a lot of pressure off of you being the initiator in the conversation, and then listen more than you speak. Now, after the event, you want to look at connecting with them on LinkedIn. For those of you that don't know, I'm Jeremy Walker, the LinkedIn stalker. That's what I officially was called during the 4-block program when they did the LinkedIn session that taught us how to effectively manage and look at LinkedIn. Everybody you meet has a LinkedIn profile in the business world. You go on, find them, send them a message, and now look at the business that they're in and start doing your research so you can have an intelligent conversation once you get past the elevator pitch. And reference specific conversations in the follow-ups. It's just that simple. All right. Small networking events like meetups, workshops, or industry mixers often offer the perfect low pressure environment for a beginner. Keep that in mind. Navigating small groups again. The ideal size is normally 3 to 8 people. All right. For me, And I think a lot of you guys know about me. 300 to 800 people is a small group. I just love being around people. And then if we can get into the thousands, that's when I consider it being large scale. All right, 60% of it is listening. Hey, notice how I start the conversation. How are you doing? What's your name? And so forth. Just be prepared to ask that question and let them talk first, and then see who they are and how you can then put yourself into their society, into their world. And then be key contributions. Quality insights matter more than quantity. You can talk to 400 people and not get anything versus talking to 4 quality people and wind up taking over the world. As most of you know, I like to say I'm taking over half of Atlanta. Well, in talking with Miss Belinda and everybody else now that I've networked with, they told me to change my mindset to taking over the whole world. But again, the connections, the movement is putting me in a place and talking to different people where that's happening naturally, just because I again am growing my circle, expanding my circle. All right. So mastering large scale networks. We went from small scale to large scales. You want to start with strategic planning. You want to research your speakers. You want to look at the sessions, prioritize your time. Target networking. Target networking. Who do you want to start off talking to first? Sometimes it's the big fish in the room that you might not be able to get to, but who else is in there that you can maximize your time? You may have a 2-hour event and there's 400 people. How many people do you want to set out to talk to within that time frame until you can get to that person? Because they are the focal point of everybody's attention, and you're going to have to fight to get that spot. But when you do, you could already have made 9,000 connections. And then you want to break your activities, use meals and breaks. Take somebody to lunch, do a coffee conversation. That's a beautiful thing when you can sit down, get somebody to sit down and relax, and then get their full attention. One, they're comfortable. Two, more than likely, a lot of things that's going on, they got time to talk to you. They've been able to do that. And here's our new beautiful friend, the digital integration. The computers have changed everything. Now, to date myself, I graduated high school in 1995 and watched everything come out from a Nintendo and Atari and all these other cool things, from games to now we have pretty much a whole computer in our pocket. Well, make sure that you learn the best that you can for the apps and the social media connections and so forth. This is a major thing to where you can walk up to somebody now, give them your phone and just tap it, and now all of a sudden you get their LinkedIn information. Okay. Sometimes large conferences could be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. All you have to do is learn to be strategic about it, and everything, and start practicing, and everything will change. All right. You want to master the one-on-one. Here are a couple of things we're going to talk about with scheduling strategically. Make sure you get about 15 to 30 minutes. I always try to push for an hour, because now I can truly engage in this conversation, because I've already prepared and planned and have my notes ready, so we can get into a deep conversation and possibly a plan of action on the way out the door. You want to create a comfortable context. That's, again, doing your research, finding out who they are, finding out their backgrounds. Most of the people on LinkedIn, if they went to school and you find out, hey, I went to Clemson and I'm from South Carolina and so forth and so forth, you engage the conversation. You engage the person with the conversation as a person, as a human being first, and then move into the business realm. Why? Because people do business with people they know. So what does that tell you if you're just being introduced to them? Now you want to close with your clear next steps. The clear next step for me when talking to somebody initially is making a connection. What do we have in common? And then talking about the business piece. What is your business like and what can I do? I help veterans with benefits and so forth, but I'm talking to a man, or a lady in corporate America, and they're like, well, how can you help me? How can you help me? Yeah, I understand you're from South Carolina. I understand you're a veteran and so forth. But what does that do for me? My clear next step is to say, look, you have this many veterans in your corporation. This is how we do that. And now you lay the plan out. I can come in and teach your guys how to do this. I can teach your company veteran culture so you can keep us staying within your organizations longer. And then you want to balance the conversation. Why not let them talk more than you talk? Because people will tell you who they are and what they need. as long as you turn around and you're eager to listen. One-on-one meetings are the most effective ways to build strong professional relationships. Go figure. Continually growing your network. Here are some key things that you want to think about. You want to be proactive with your outreach. You want to be consistent in attendance, and then visibility building. One thing that we do well is outreach. And right now with the airport chamber, one of the things that I love is every Thursday, we know every Thursday at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. there's going to be the ATL airport mixer. All right. We're going to be on the rooftop of the Crumpton. That is amazing because it satisfies all of this. Now we can be proactive with the outreach. We can invite people to come to the same place over and over again. You're creating consistency. So now you need to be there. The first thing of winning in this mindset is being there yourself. So now you can plan every Thursday this time and so forth. And then visibility building. All right. People see me. Now all of a sudden I ask for an engagement, whether it be an individual speak engagement or a group. And this is how your network grows. It's that simple. Network growth requires a balance of breadth and depth, continuously meeting new people while also deepening existing relationships. Now, sometimes that can be exhausting if you don't have a system in place, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the future. You want to leverage LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the most powerful online networking tool available for professionals, and I know a lot of us know that, but this PowerPoint or this briefing was designed to talk to everybody from beginning, intermediate, and to master level networkers. Well, go figure, military, they get a LinkedIn profile for free for 365 days through different organizations. You can start building your network before you even get out and try to figure out, hey, I'm not sure where I want to go or what I want to do, but you can find people in that field. Well, for those of us that already have it, you can go back and you can refine your LinkedIn by optimizing your profile. You can grow strategically and engage consistently. Build relationships. Hey, I'm the LinkedIn stalker. I'm not too sure about what most people do, but I might read their profile and say, hey, I saw you did this, or you're in this corporation. Do you have 5 or 10 minutes to talk? Now, optimizing your LinkedIn profile. You want a professional photo. This is one thing I love about being in all these different organizations that I'm a part of, especially the different chambers. My friend Paul, he turns around, he has this photographic skill, which, man, you should see how he does a picture. Well, he's going to do all of my headshots and everybody else's headshots that I know. Why? Because if you look at it, it's like this dude is an artist. It almost looks like my headshot is a painting. Well, when you put that out in the internet, you're showing people who you are. You want something that's really going to be attractive, really draw people to you. And the first thing, just like anything we all know, when you meet somebody, the first thing you see is the physical. Well, it's the same thing online. Then you want a compelling headline. Same thing as the elevator pitch. You want to be able to make sure that when people read this and you're nowhere to be around, you're that person that those words just stand out and make you want to be the person that they want to meet. And then you want to be engaging about the section. Tell your story in first person, highlighting your passion, your expertise, and what you offer. A lot of people think that we need to chase the bag. We need to get money. We need to do this. The easiest way to get money a lot of times is being your authentic self and being passionate about what you do. That's where a lot of investors will come to you and say, hey, I see your passion. I know that you won't fail. The way you're excited about what you do, there's no way that we won't grow together. And that's where I do very well in this space. Now, growing your LinkedIn strategically. After meeting a person, here's a couple of different things. We're not going to go line by line and explain every single slide. I'm quite sure Natasha's going to send this out to you, but I wanted to make sure I put enough information to where if you do get the slide, it's a step-by-step process to make you understand, hey, I can do this and I can just keep repeating it over and over and over. One thing Jason talks about a lot is we look at growth. A lot of times we look at growth when developing our businesses, but then you want to scale. Scaling is all about creating processes that you can repeat over and over again, and you can teach to somebody else to do the same thing. This LinkedIn strategy here, the steps here are simply the same method. And all you have to do is look at after meeting a person, what do you do? Here's an example. Use this message, shared industry interests, mutual connection, and then content engagement. Quality trumps quantity in networking all the time. If people see that you're really who you are and what you say you are, really good people, those people will turn around and put you in places, put you with people in places that you'll never ever imagine because now you represent them. Now, engaging effectively on LinkedIn, this is kind of repetitive, but again, you know, like strategically. And we use LinkedIn all the time and just go like underneath the profile. You need to be careful because if you associate yourself with the wrong thing, now you discredit yourself and your brand. You want to share valuable content. Think about what you're doing. If you're not good at writing, use the AI tools. Get somebody to help, or you can actually hire, an intern or so forth, because sometimes it takes a village to run, to help with networking. And then you want to comment thoughtfully, add value through insightful comments that extend the conversation. As soon as you put out an opinion, it's going to get one or two things. It's going to get positive feedback or it's going to get negative feedback. A lot of times, if you're really thoughtful, it's going to get positive feedback and you'll get a lot of people that draw to it through different networks. And then you want to create original posts. I really love what we do. Certain members in different chambers that I am, because they put a lot of time and passion in developing videos, moving content. I just took a class that said, we need to get away from making still pictures because the average human being, the new generations, are all used to watching short film. So, not saying that you're going to totally get away from that if time permits, but you're going to have to upgrade and you're going to have to pivot into learning new strategies, and this is one of them. You want to move beyond the digital, all right? Virtual and in person. COVID showed us a whole lot a couple of years ago. So now what are we doing? Just like we're here today on this platform, we're virtually networking. We got webinars and online workshops that teach us any and everything, basically from the comfort of our home. Now, the virtual conference with breakout rooms make it a little bit easier to section your conversation and then turn around and get people at key point in areas that they're comfortable in and then bring them back into a group and create a larger scale process. A lot of times that's called groupthink. All right. So the more ideals that you have that you bring to the table, the bigger project and the bigger successful you can be. Now that creates an even bigger network because you have to bring more people in order to accomplish whatever mission you come up with. In person, industry conferences and trade shows. Again, we have for the veteran community, we have the military influencer conference coming up, the MIC. There was over like 4,000 veterans and veteran service organizations that all showed up last year. This is the first time in Atlanta. Now it's coming back. So what does that tell you? If there was 4,000, there may be more this year. Those in-person events, you want to show up and show out. Be your best you. Be ready to talk. Be able to connect. And everybody has something that they bring to the table. So don't be scared to talk to them. All right. So both virtual and in-person networking have unique advantages. And just make sure that you find what's best for you and work on the things that you're weak in on the other. Now, knowing yourself, networking with different types of personalities. If you see that a person is an introvert and they're kind of shy, you may have to be a little bit more proactive. That's just one of the things about it. Reading people is a valuable skill that I had to learn initially in the military. And then, I'm a man, so you have to figure out when you're trying to date. If you see somebody shy sitting in the corner, you may have to be that person that initiates the conversation. Well, I treat everything like that. And then an extrovert, sometimes people will walk up to you and just start talking and figure out what's going on. We had a gentleman that turned around and just walked into one of our events and said, "Hey, I'm not a veteran, but I want to help veterans." And he was just being cool. And we had a conversation for about an hour and a half standing up while another event was going on. And so the ambiverts, go figure. Digital networking comfort. Some people are just good with computers. That's their thing. Let them do what they're going to do, and then use their strength to help you in your area and what you're trying to do. All right. Here's one thing that I've learned a couple of weeks ago is my Gallup strengths. Gallup strengths are also known as Clifton strengths. And it's a set of 34 talents that we have, and they're all positive. You know, this is what makes us who we are. But most of us don't know specifically what that is because we've never taken a test. So now, the idea behind Clifton strengths is that you will achieve greater success by building on your own natural talents rather than trying to fix your weaknesses. I always hear people, I'm gonna be my authentic self, and I'm this and I'm that. And y'all will hear me say I'm the shark, I'm the Meg, right? Okay, I'm naturally a conversationalist, and you will be so surprised at what my top 5 are. Go figure. I'm gonna hit you with some of these things on the next slide. But the top 5 for you are what you do well at any given time as soon as you wake up. And they fall into 4 domains. 1, achiever, executing strengths. I'm an achiever. Responsibility and very disciplined. Oh, influencer. I communicate very well with anybody. I just walk up. I can have a conversation with a bum off the street, or I can have a conversation with a CEO at corporate America. Why? Because I'm very versatile. Woo. I really tripped out when I heard the word woo because I was like, I'm a woo. What is that? That's called winning others over. I'm a very influential person, and I have again, I'm 6'2", 265. My stature alone is very dominant, but the way I talk to people and make conversations more about them than myself, I win others over in conversations. Very simple, just by being I authentically care about what they do and who they are and what they're trying to do. All right, and then empathy, harmony, and relator. If you are a veteran, you can go to Camp Southern Ground. In one of their programs right here in Fayetteville, Georgia, and they teach you this in like 4 days. And instead of me beating myself up and my other classmates, my other veterans, instead of us sitting here trying to figure out how do we change and what do we need to improve off of, we learned that in our top 5 strengths. How about focus on being better at that and feeling good about yourself and using that as your superpower? One of the most beautiful experiences under the sun. I recommend that if you don't and you're not a veteran, go online and take the Gallup Strengths Test. It'll actually help you in knowing yourself. And now, guess what? In knowing yourself and feeling better about yourself, you could be more productive in the networking space. All right, networking etiquettes, do's and don'ts. I'm not going to beat this up too much, but the do's. You really want to be punctual for a scheduled meeting. It's common sense. You want to follow through on your promises and commitments, express genuine appreciation, listen more than you speak, and respect boundaries and time constraints. All right, you want to also offer help without expectation of return. A lot of times the meeting is not about what you can get out of it, it's what you bring to the table. And now all of a sudden that connection grows stronger than ever because people see that you're all about helping them, and then they will wind up helping you. Some of the don'ts is don't dominate the conversation. You want to ask for significant favors. Don't ask for significant favors too early. A quick story on this one. Same gentleman that came into one of our events, introduced him to somebody, and he was first time meeting him, and he was like, "How can I help you?" And they said, "I want $20,000." In the first sentence, I want $20,000. Not, "Hey, how you doing? I'm this person. Let's chop it up for about 15 minutes and see what you can do." $20,000. Well, you can imagine that situation didn't go well, and then that connection was never made. All right. So moving right along, we're looking at managing network anxiety. If you prepare thoroughly, just like anything in life, if you prepare a date, going to a promotion board, looking for a job and different things like that, if you prepare thoroughly, it will help with the anxiety, but it doesn't totally get rid of it. So know your limits. Start off small. You want to focus on the outward. Shift your attention from your own nervousness to making others comfortable. This is where if you're nervous, it's better for you to ask people questions. "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Where are you from?" Just something as simple as that now gets them to start talking. Then they'll drop their guard, and here you are. You're in their space, and you're having a beautiful conversation. And then you want to practice self-care. arrive well rested, which most of us go 400 and 500 miles per hour, and think we can operate off of energy drinks and coffee and so forth. That's not helpful. And we're not getting sleep. The biggest thing is get you some rest, work out, relieve whatever stress that you got to have in your life, and be able to talk to others. That's why I love that we have a lot of mental health professionals around us in all these different chambers. All right. Overcoming common networking challenges, time constraints. Whatever you do, that's probably the biggest killer right there. Is trying to get on somebody's schedule, asking for a certain amount of time, and you're not prepared for it. So be prepared if they have to cut the meeting short, or if it runs over and so forth. You don't want to run out of questions. Lack of responses is huge. You ever had somebody ask you a question and you're like, wait a minute, that kind of got me. And now your initial response is, if you're like me, people can read your face and be like, "Oh my God, I just messed up." It might not be the fact that you just messed up, or you're confusing me, or whatever the case is. I just wasn't prepared to answer that, and now I have to go into thought. So this creates a difficult situation that you can simply overcome just by being prepared again, and then finding relevant connections. Okay, everybody has something in common. That's where the conversation piece comes from. Whether you're 75, I'm a military veteran after 22 and a half years. I talked to a lot of veterans that were in Vietnam. I wasn't even born yet. And for the most part, I could still talk to them about something that in any branch of the service that's relatable to what we all did. And then running out of things to say. Most of you know that I could talk all day long, but there are times where you do run out of things to say because the topic or whatever the situation may be, it's okay. I mean, it's life. So when you get to that point, hey, it's nice talking to you. Let's pick this up at another time to where you can go back and do more research and get more information and have more of an intelligent conversation. Okay. Now, organizing your network. This is huge. You want to all this information that we capture, every event, every time you pull out these cards and so forth, you can go to 20 different events in 5 days and create a network of over 800 people easily. So how do you get that? How do you do that? What do you do now? You have to look at categorizing it. Who is this person? What business field are they in? Do I really want to network with them for future development, or is this somebody good to know? Then you want to schedule regular maintenance. Set aside time monthly to review your networking and identify relationships that need nurturing. Again, not everybody you meet is going to be a current opportunity. There may be something for you later on down the road. But we're long gone are the days of the Rolodexes and all these different business cards and so forth. We're working off of digital stuff now. And so most of us still carry the paper card, but also you have a digital card. So now you have two different mediums that you need to try to structure for informational purposes. And how do you do that? It's always going to be a systematic approach that's going to help you. And there's different things like a CRM or a HubSpot, a spreadsheet, or a dedicated app. So you can turn around and you can make sure you manage all of this, because what's the point of getting information from somebody if you don't remember who they are? There's no follow-up. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot. Now, tools for effective networking, we kind of already talked about them, but here's an example of a few. And digital cards, the digital business cards, you got blank QR codes, the QR codes and different things like that. Man, it's so many different things out there. You just have to really find what best works for you. I cannot make a recommendation off of what Jeremy Walker uses because I'm me. So my best advice to you is use what best works for you. Now, measuring network success. Hey, this is just a basic chart on what you want to identify when you first start out. If it's 12 new connections and you want out of that 12, you want 5 deep relationships, that's an 80% ratio. And I took, out of that 5, I did an 80% ratio follow-up, and that created 3 opportunities. Okay. Success is what you deem it to be. So a successful networking isn't just about you collecting business cards or LinkedIn connections. It's about what you get out of it and how meaningful and how powerful those connections are. I met Jason at 4Block. I found him on LinkedIn before before I was in the 4 block course, and I found everybody that was in 4 block before I attended. And I was like, hey, I know this guy. He's from the Atlanta Black Chamber. I was on one of their Zooms, never really, never got a chance to meet him. And we met at 4 block. Well, guess what? I knew more about Jason than Jason could. He was just blown away. Like, how do you know that? Dude, I read your LinkedIn profile. I knew that you were in the Air Force and so forth. And now you're an instructor. Who's going to be my coach? And come to find out he was my coach doing the 4 block piece. And we've known each other probably about 6 years since then. Go figure. That's a 6-year connection. It's a friendship. That's a partnership. And I consider him one of my brothers to this day. Same thing with Miss Belinda, or I met Natasha a couple months ago, and she's assisting me. I met Miss Carmelita a whole year ago, but I reached out to them on LinkedIn first. Go figure. So, network cultures. We're going to fly through this so I can get customs. If you plan on doing business overseas, or again, most of us in the military, we were voluntold to do this. So now here's some of the things that we found out work well. Learning the greeting customs. Time perspective. Some cultures, you have to be 10 minutes early, or they see that being late or whatever is very disrespectful. Communication styles. You can't talk with your hands, or you have to figure out, when I was in Germany, you had to at least learn a couple of words in German for them to feel respected. And then giving gifts, some gifts sometimes are against the rules, and then some gifts are great because it helps build a network. It's all about, again, doing your research. Now, networking for career transitions. I built this again for hopefully my future military veterans that are getting out, and those that have been out for a while. Plus, with what's going on with their current economy, we have a lot of people that are losing their jobs. So how do you turn around and network regardless of what the space is? Well, you go in the research phase and you figure out how to do connection building. Well, I came from this profession. I can go on here. A lot of different organizations are now showing that they're hiring. How do I get in contact with the hiring manager? It's a search, or you can go Google and then try to find out about this company. Ask people to talk to, or the employees. Hey, what do you do? What do you like about your job? You can find out. You can basically interview an employee from a corporation that you're thinking about pivoting to before you even go there to see if that's a spot that you even want to waste your time with. Again, it's always about being strategic, learning conversations, gathering insight about the transition. I'm going from this place to that place. What is it that I need to know about where I'm going? And then skill development. I don't know how to speak well, or I don't do PowerPoint, or I don't do this. You have a bunch of different tools and resources that you can use to help develop that skill set to make you more marketable. Preparation and taking pride in yourself is one of the things that I really, really focus on, because I'm a constant learner, but I'm always wanting to be prepared for an opportunity comes. If you are like, we always joke a lot, hey, you know what? You don't have to get ready when you stay ready. All right. And then a lot of that leads to opportunity creation. Now, networking for remote professionals, we talked about that, again, the virtual events, the digital communities, virtual coffees and chats. We're not going to, beat a dead horse with that one. Here's a networking tool that I found to be very amazing. I didn't even know what it was, a CRM. I'm like, Chrome, what is that? No, it's the customer relationship management tool for people like me who talk to 1 million people a day and are going to plan to talk to 1 million people the rest of my life. It's an actual tool, a software tool, and a strategy tool that helps you pour into it and organize everything for you. Now, the CRM system store content details, then it tracks interactions, manages follow-up tasks. The ones that now have AI on it, they pretty much become your personal secretary. So they're putting people out of jobs. The only, like my friend Quentin will tell you in a heartbeat, the only thing that's going to replace AI, the only thing that AI won't replace is the people who develop it and have to maintain it. Okay. But it's, again, you look at all of that. So when you go beyond the business, CRM can help you manage your life. And a CRM approach brings structure and intentionality to networking, transforming it from a random interactions to strategic relationship building. That's what it's all about. Remember, strategic relationship building. Not everybody you meet is going to be an opportunity for you to advance, but you never know who you're going to meet and that you want to make sure you keep in contact with. And this is a great tool to do so.
I
Now,
love that,
the benef-
Jeremy. Not to interrupt you, but I just
Yes.
want to inject here that there are a lot of affordable and sometimes even free, if you're a solopreneur, CRMs. I never thought of just using it as a way to connect with people and not as just a business tool.
Yeah, we're gonna touch bases on one coming up. And thanks, Natasha, for that, because again, that's one of the things that kind of got me today was I need help. I will say that I need help. I meet over in a week probably about 1,200 people because I'm intentional about networking. Well, going to the CRM, I can put in that I went to this event today, and all of a sudden, here it goes, and come back with all these cards, input the data. Now, it keeps that information viable for me underneath that category. And now, whenever Helmets to Boots has an event, and I've already met these 1,200 people, I can just put the event in, and it sends out a mass message to everybody I met. Well, okay, I'm always in front of your face. I'm always visible. I'm always here. And that's what most people need is that we have to stay relevant, but I'm only one person. So while I'm out talking, this thing is moving. And I love that because I like going 400 miles per hour and it goes 405. All right. So some of the key capabilities is operations and memory. You can do personalization and be consistent. Be consistent. Again, I'm out doing my thing. This thing is sending, emails, talking to people. You can even answer the phone. You can get a virtual assistant to answer the phone and call people back for you. And then also build team collaboration. But look at the strength. The biggest thing is organization and memory. Now, I'm going to skip this slide because, again, it's very simple. It's dependent on the system that you pick up. But you definitely want to start out simple or something that you can use, okay? Now, Rival CRM, pretty much what Natasha talked about. It's simplified in design. It does smart tagging. It does automatic reminders, and it does integration capabilities. So you can pretty much put in anything you want from email to calendars to communication tools. Everything you want is right in front of you. All right. And same thing here. Conference preparation. This is an example of a young lady that turned around and used a CRM. It just kept sending out notes from when she met a gentleman. 3 months later, it helped her get a contract and turn around, and that was one of the biggest contracts that they have in their company to this day. Now, lessons from veteran leadership. This is my baby. Veterans are one of the most interesting people on the planet because of all the skill sets we learned from the military. Well, guess what? Couple of things that we get is we get discipline with follows through. We're mission orientated, and a lot of times you got team first mentality and adaptability in diverse environments. Well, guess what? That's where we walk in the rooms and we can talk to anybody because the more we moved around, that was part of the job. These principles translate into networking success through systematic contact management, purposeful, interactions focused on mutual benefit, willingness to support others before seeking personal gain, and comfort connecting across hierarchical and cultural boundaries. I've been in the military for 22 and a half years. I've only been in the United States probably about 7 out of 22. Everything else was outside of the country. So again, networking is just part of who we are just because of where we go and what we do. Now, another thing, wearing the uniform, it helps you you identify the mission. You look at selective strategic relationships. You engage with intent and you evaluate and adapt. We in that same skill set coming out of is a micro and macro organization. That's all it is. It's one big business. Well, small business, little business, a small business and large business is exactly what we do. And these skill sets are taught to us. We just don't use that verbiage. It's called, that's my job. Well, now I just explained that drawing from your military experience helps you become more viable on the outside. And then for our military family members, they pick up a lot of skill sets from us. So I want to make sure that that's put out very well because a lot of our community overlooks that. Networking across different professional cultures, we kind of already covered that, but make sure you're aware that about the corporate environments, startup ecosystems. A lot of times going into colleges, people don't realize how valuable it is to network with the future generation coming behind you. You may have your possible intern or replacement or somebody that's going to be working for you in the future, or maybe you're going to help develop them into a business owner. This could be a future business partner. Change your mindset and also look at the nonprofit and public sector. We look at small business LLCs and different things all the time on structuring business, but the nonprofits are out here doing just as much. I'm one of them, just as much as any other LLC or major corporation. Sometimes a nonprofit becomes bigger than a regular company. And now we're going to close this out with understanding building a network habit. You want to schedule regular activities, track your progress, and adjust your approach. And then you'll hear all us joke and say we're 400 miles per hour, but you want to maintain that momentum. If you get started moving that fast, you will create what I call the beast. And before you know it, I scaled my business from 2 years ago with only maybe 5 people to over 5,000 veterans that were served in less than 2.5 years. And that's just within just networking and talking to people and finding out who they are. Successful networking isn't about sporadic bursts of activity. It's about a consistent, sustainable habits. Now, committing to network growth, you gotta tell yourself, I'm gonna focus just like going to the gym. It's a quarterly focus, and this is what I want to do. Pick certain things that you want to do, certain goals. Create a feedback source. Surround yourself with people who are going to be truly honest about what it is that you're doing, what you can do better, because you're only going to get better in this sector. And then practice events. Again, we have the mixer that comes up every Thursday. If you're new, most of the time I can spot new people. I will come up to you and just start talking to you just so you feel comfortable and invite you out next week. That's reverse psychology. Please come out so we can talk a little bit more. And now you get comfortable in that space. And then you go from a mixer to another place and another spot and so forth. And then make sure you put some time to invest in yourself. Make sure you got 3 to 5 events practice per week. And then 10% of your time should be investing in yourself. Go figure. Investing in improving this skill set. That's why we're here today. So, 30-day networking action plan. I'll leave this up for a couple of minutes, a picture of it if you will. But it's really simple. By step to tell you what to do. This is how you create scalability in networking. All right, and we will be moving forward. Measure success, always create a tracker. You even need to try to believe it, because networking will show you what your worth is, whether it be in your bank account or whether it be in your Rolodex and how many people you have as connections. Give before you receive. Be systematic and consistent and seek purpose beyond transactions. Not everything can't be about money. If you're here and you're true about quality of life and changing the world and leaving a legacy, people will see it and feel it, and you will have way more connections than you can ever imagine. I always say the God in me talks to the God in them. And then value diversity in your network, because the more people you know in different arenas, the bigger your network becomes. Any questions? All right. Remember, the sky is the limit. Thank you for your attendance, and I will turn this back over to Natasha.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, and I really appreciate that. And I want to tell you guys from personal experience, I've been to several events with this man, and when he leaves there, he has not only met every person in that room, he knows their backstory. So he is a wonderful wingman for networking with. As he mentioned, we do have our own networking event tomorrow night, the landing at 6, the Kempton Overland Hotel. I put the link in the chat box. I also put the link to our event page because we have many opportunities for you to practice networking with lunch and learns and all kinds of different roundtable breakfast, these Wednesday Wisdom webinars. We are really kicking off some stuff and partnering with some great organizations to bring as many networking opportunities as possible to our members and to our communities. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you for your patience when we got started, and we hope to see you tomorrow night.